law and called on the international community to intervene to stop the occupation's crimes against prisoners. Meanwhile, the European Union has expressed strong concern following the approval of the death penalty bill by the Israeli occupying parliament. In a statement issued by the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy on behalf of the EU, the bloc reaffirmed its principled opposition to the death penalty in all cases and under all circumstances. According to the statement, the approval of the death penalty bill marks a serious regression, expressing deep concern about the bill's decision and comply with its obligations under international law. The bloc emphasized that the death penalty constitutes a violation of the rights to life. It also stressed that capital punishment has no proven deterrent effect and makes any judicial errors irreversible. For its part, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro
the death penalty of Palestinian prisoners, calling it a terrorist and criminal law.
First, we call on the international community to condemn the adoption of the penal code and Quran and to demand Israel's far-right government repeal this terrorist, criminal, and racist law. We also call for the activation of universal jurisdiction and for those responsible for the law in Israel to be prosecuted. They must be brought to trial and subjected to universal jurisdiction. We further condemn that the Knesset and the Israeli court
and intensified clashes amidst an increased deployment of Israeli defense forces deeper inside Lebanon. This is taking a devastating toll on civilians and civilian infrastructure, particularly in Lebanon. As of 30 March, the Lebanese authorities report that over 1,240 people have been killed and 3,680 wounded. Over 1.1 million people have been displaced.
He emphasized that the United Nations continues to call for the use of diplomatic channels while renewing its commitment to the full implementation of the UN Resolution number 1701. For his part, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, the UN Under-Secretary General for Peacekeeping Operations, warned in his speech that civilians are paying a heavy price as a result of the continuing hostilities, whilst the United Nations interforce in Lebanon has suffered casualties.
As reported earlier, the Israel Defense Forces have issued displacement orders. Thousands of trajectories were observed in both directions, as well as attacks by fighter aircraft and unmanned aerial vehicles. Israel Defense Forces are advancing deeper into Lebanon, and clashes have been observed, including in very close proximity to UNIFIL headquarters in Nakura, which has been the subject of multiple impacts. Faced with immense pressure, including intensified exchanges of fire, direct attacks, obstructions of movement and resupply, UNIFIL continuously reassesses the force's posture to mitigate risks, strengthening force protection, reducing footprint, and adjusting operational activities.
The European Union has warned of a deepening energy crisis, urging member states to reduce oil consumption in response to the ongoing impact of the war in the Middle East. Following a meeting with EU energy ministers, EU Energy Commissioner Dan Johansson said that the situation could deteriorate further. He stressed that even if peace were restored soon in the Middle East, return to normal would be unlikely due to damage to energy infrastructure in the region. Since the outbreak of the war a month ago, gas pipelines have risen by 70% in Europe and oil prices by about 60%, increasing the EU's energy bill by approximately 14 billion euros. You're still listening to Radio Algiers International. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to your weekly program, Second Verse in the Science Planet on Radio Algeria International. Recently, the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, released its State of the Global Climate 2025 report, the most authoritative scientific assessment of the planet's climate system. In addition to that, the world marked the International Day of Zero Waste on March 30th, set by